Dear God, just thankful for this spiritual experience that we get to have and on this podcast, and help us to just be open and real and say the things we need to say that are going to help somebody, and help us to be the man in the back, and to be grounded in that presence and just enjoy this experience. Please, thank you for leading us to this and being able to do it. It's so cool. I say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Beautiful. What a platform.
So bro, so it was the third time I went to detox. It was in the summer, right? It was right before me and you, or, you remember that time.
Yeah, the snow was melting and the rivers were flowing hard.
Yeah. When I was in there, they'd always been trying to convince me to go to rehab, but I was starting that new job, and I didn't feel like it was, I just kept, and it was determined, and I agreed that I would go on Suboxone, and it was we were going to kind of go like a 6-month plan. And I had taken Suboxone back in the day when I'd take Suboxone to get high. Way back when. I never had taken it just to get off something. And so, but I was like, okay. And I was desperate. I couldn't stop picking up the Kratom. So I went on the Suboxone while the day 2 into rehab. And then, I was on it while I was in there, and then I went home. And when I got home, dude, now I was on opiates. I mean, I was on Kratom, and Kratom's an opiate, and I was, as much as I was doing, but it wasn't I remember I was at my kid's game, and I was watching his baseball game, and I was asleep. I was fell asleep watching. And my wife, she had noticed, and so she's like, I don't think this is good for you to be on. And I was like, I don't either. I couldn't feel the spirit, in my room at night. I just felt the devil. I don't know. It was. So I talked to my wife, and I decided, because the way I had always gotten off opiates in the past was back in the day, 2008, when I was doing Oxy and Roxy, was I would always do cannabis. And so I decided I was to go get a medical card to help me to stop doing the subs. I was only on the subs for 10 days, but it came into my mind that I would use the cannabis. So I got a medical card and went down and got the cannabis, and used the cannabis to help me to get off the subs, and that was around the time when me and you went on that hike, and the cannabis helped me, but the thing that it did, bro, is it helped me with the cravings, but cannabis has never helped me to actually learn how to beat a craving. So it didn't solve the problem. It helped me get away from the subs. But then, of course, I ended up relapsing down the road, going back on when I tried to pull the cannabis out, and then I relapsed again. And then I went in detox for a 4th time. And then that's when I had to go to treatment. But I don't know, bro, that hike we went on, and I just appreciated just the experience that me and you, and how you always checked on me, And I know you just got a year sober off of meth.
378 days today.
Wow, bro.
Yeah, huge deal.
Huge deal.
I remember that hike really well. I remember the position you were at. I remember thinking that weed wasn't for you, but God let it help you get off of this, which... it was real tragic what they did. I mean, you had already had that reward pathway of Suboxone in your brain. Yeah. That was already there. And they just brought that immediately back. So what a horrible thing. And I prayed about that. And I prayed that, marijuana would help relieve you from that, because it uses a completely different pathway, an endocannabinoid pathway that doesn't use serotonin or dopamine. So it doesn't react those same chemical pathways. Yeah. It is a way out from desperate position of loss of control, loss of your own mind, the compulsion,
the cravings. I think the weed, not only because the physical withdrawals, but cannabis helped me with like, so like with a craving to go pick up the kratom, right? Comes into my head. I lose control. You know how when you get a craving so bad, it's like I'm really powerless. Like I'll go to great lengths to get an opiate. And the cannabis helps me see that situation and makes me paranoid about it. Like it almost, you know how cannabis makes you paranoid? A lot of people. I mean, I don't really like the high of cannabis. Like all it does is give me anxiety.
It's self-awareness.
But it gave me a picture of what I was doing and how like the severity. I mean, I had by this time I had gotten kicked out of SOAR, you know. Remember? And like I couldn't.
Your own program.
The gym that I've been working on since 2010.
How do you not kill yourself that day?
No. But I had all these resentments and thinking errors from it, and but it just was interesting. But it helped me see it. You know, it makes me paranoid about that, and it creates an awareness. So I never really liked the cannabis high, but it did work. It does work in a unique way. And it has helped me. I've said this in the past. Cannabis helped me in the past to stay out of rehab. Like I could always like 2008, 2009, those times when I was really bad into the Oxycontin and doing methadone pills in that world. It helped me to beat cravings and I could get some time away from it. And then I could stop with the weed and get my spiritual condition. You know, the cannabis, I could get pretty close to God. It's like it could take me places, but then I couldn't hold on to a lot of what it was giving me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Kind of like a spring or a trampoline. I've found it too. Sometimes it can boost you real close to spirituality, and the minute you grab it, you lose it. You oscillate. You can never hold on to it.
Right. Yeah, you're right, bro. And that's why, like, I don't know, everybody's journey is different. My journey, I can't use it. It doesn't work I don't like it. It doesn't work for me now. And I've gotten to a place, now where like I this like spirit, you know, but man, and you know, the thing that's hard, bro, about it too is like what it's doing to a lot of kids, you know, like these young kids getting into it.
Absolutely.
And it's very accessible. And when you're a young kid, I mean, back when I was a kid, it was like you breaking up dirt weed, you know, it was like getting all the stems out of it, getting all the sticks and and it was like not very strong. It's like now, like these kids are getting, and they can't do school. They get blocked from feelings of accomplishment, you know?
Yeah. I mean, any substance, you're avoiding reality and you're going down a bad path in that way.
Yeah.
What was I thinking about? I was thinking about, I'm sorry.
No, you're good, bro. But like, what's going, like, so a year sober, like, what's it like in your head now? Like, as far as like, are you having cravings? Like, do you ever think?
I wanted to talk about that a little bit about marijuana and my cravings and how you know, I went the first 90 days in this program without marijuana. I relapsed at 60 days and I relapsed at 90 days. It was a war, everyday war.
Wait, did you relapse on meth?
Methamphetamine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I relapsed on meth. I remember the day I relapsed. I drove here to the parking lot. I was so scared for my life.
Like you were worried about, like,
I thought I was going to go right back and it was going to be much worse and people were going to get hurt and I wasn't going to be able to stop myself from what was going to happen. Like I was on that edge. I drove here to the parking lot and I grabbed Tyler, and he said, just stay here in the parking lot. And, man. So that was the first time, but I've had many times of temptation where I wake up in the middle of the night, completely out of control of my own self, and knowing that I had drugs hidden in the mountains. I was homeless. I'd be in the mountains and I would hide drugs a lot. And I sometimes I remember where those were, and I'll have an uncontrollable urge to go get high, and I will handcuff myself. I go to extreme measures to make it not happen. It happens, 30, 40 times in my recovery.
Right. With that craving.
And, when I started to I suffered a stroke, and I was in a Train Your Brain in a recovery group for that. And they use a lot of cannabis for neuropathy and for brain damage, for your endocannabinoid system getting damaged. And so I started using it when I had bad cravings, and immediately took me out. I was able to back up. It was almost like I was taken up with a drone, and I could see everything around me, my house, where SOAR was, my cliffs, where the bad stuff was, and I got this awareness.
Wow.
I think it's real important that when I did those, I was in a really bad place, and I was praying for God. I was praying for some sort of relief. I was desperate, and that it came in cannabis for me. But it's absolutely addictive. It absolutely can take you the wrong way. Very few instances that it really can be positive, because it has so many detriments. You were talking about the kids. That's the worst, is your brain. The science on the use of cannabinoids during adolescence, it's mind blowing. How it can, it actually, it can. You're growing these neural connections. It can stop those neural connections from ever forming. As adolescent, so it's a huge deal.
Right.
It's a beautiful medicine, but it's really dangerous. It can be very dangerous.
It's not for everybody.
Absolutely not.
And everybody in recovery, it's not. But it has worked for you.
It has worked for me, and I was a junkie, man. I was hooked. I had $100 a day habit. Meth and fentanyl and cocaine, and so it's pretty extreme. But there's people who come into recovery who I have so much respect for, who maybe smoke weed, or maybe they're just thinking about smoking weed. You'd have some people in here that are just thinking about getting drunk, and what power they have, and to grasp a little of that. Like when the road's starting to go south, that's when you pull the parachute, you look for help. Like it took me, I was going to do everything myself, and all this long path. So I wouldn't want to ever encourage or influence anybody in those states that it was okay in some sort of way. It's a powerful medicine that really you need a shaman, a doctor to tell you how and when to. You shouldn't be taking it on your own. My thoughts.
No, you're right. And everybody's recovery is different. And some people are trying to get off weed. So obviously, that weed doesn't work for them, but a guy like who is taking it to extreme measures, that was like yourself, it was shooting meth, maybe it's something that's helped you. And, but bro, I'm super proud of you, man. So you went to treatment up at Valley Camp, right?
I made it one day at Valley Camp. They cured me in one day. I'm their biggest success. I wasn't ready for that.
Right.
I wasn't ready. I had my own. I definitely needed recovery, and I did my own 120-day recovery. I built that when I walked out of Valley Camp with all my stuff over the mountain. I walked over the mountain home. It's up in the Ogden Valley, and I thought about, what am I going to do now? What am I going to do now? I'm going to do something. I'm not going downhill. That wasn't the answer, but there is an answer. And so I just developed my own strategy. I said, I'm going to hang out in the river and play guitar naked, and I'm going to do these things every day. I'm going to throw my phone. I threw my phone in the river. I went 90 days without a phone. I went to meetings. I rode my motorcycle around, which is a crazy gift from God. This whole truck, the way I got this motorcycle and how it's brought me to so many meetings and so many people. I just said, I'm going to go to every meeting I can on my motorcycle for the next 120 days. And I went to 300-something meetings in 90 days, including SOAR. I just lived it, man. I just lived on my motorcycle in meetings, and I found that I didn't need money. I didn't need food. Everything was provided for me. I would go to a meeting, and somebody would be like, "Oh, that's a nice motorcycle, man. Hey, I'm going to get some gas over here. You want me to fill you up with some gas?" It's like, yeah, because I was from Ogden, coming to a meeting. Let me fill you up with some gas. I went all the way to Mexico, all right, without any money. That $100 just based on faith, because of what I learned in here. what did I learn from Chris, man? Chris told me,
Chris Hill.
Chris Hill,
Yeah.
man. Yeah. He's like, dude, I'm looking at him one day. Oh, yeah, he's helped me out a bunch. But it's like everything's going to work out. Like, and so nonchalantly about his situation.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you're not in a great situation. And
Yeah.
he was totally not worried about it. And I was like, there's something to that, right? And
Yeah.
so I practiced it. I said, well, okay, let me try this.
Yeah.
Let me try this, man, and let me just go 100% and say, I believe I'm going to be okay. Like everything that I knew, I'm just going to let it go, and I'm going to pull over when God tells me to pull over on my motorcycle and see where it leads. And it's led to me to the valley, living in the most beautiful place I've ever lived and tried to live in my entire life, scratched to get to, and it just fell in my house with in my lap with beautiful conversations.
Wow.
Letting God propel my motorcycle's direction. I didn't have a GPS, didn't have anything. I just was riding around the road saying, go that way, feeling the road. Ended up in Mexico.
What was that like?
Oh.
So what'd you do there?
Well, I only made it to Mexico for a few days, but the whole travel through the Grand Canyon, I did my fourth and my fifth step at the Grand Canyon with I threw my fifth step. I made paper airplanes out of my fifth step and threw it off the Grand Canyon.
Wow, bro.
That's where my healing really started, bro.
And you just met people along the way that helped you?
In meetings, in churches. It was over Easter. I remember I was coming back. It was a monsoon. I was on my motorcycle and I was hydroplaning, and I was like, I'm not gonna make it, man. And one of those super monster churches in the middle of nowhere that they had, like, is right there, And I realized, oh, it's Easter morning. And so I go in there, and man, I have all these people, and God bless me. And then I get on my motorcycle, and it's monsooning, and I make it about 20 more minutes, and there's another church, and they're having another service. It's right there. So I pull my bike, and I go in there. And it's like and it hits me again, and I get these God shots, like these face kicks from God, telling me where to go. What I'm doing the right thing. I'm on the right path. Look what I'm sharing what I learned here, what I learned at SOAR in meetings in Arizona. And it's lighting me up, man. It's lighting everybody up. I'm feeling a high I never felt on anything in life, before drugs, before after drugs. Connection to God and to people. Led me all the way back home. Yeah, I had some crazy moments, some scary moments, but in those worst moments, it was like every time I was like, this is all I got. Okay, it didn't work out, God. It didn't work out. I'm going to have to bail out of this. I'm going to have to fucking call my mom. Get some money. That's when he came through. That's when I met somebody on the fucking bus that was a meth user. And they got off and then we go to the gas station and whatever. And he's like, hey, man, you do meth? I'm like, not anymore. And he's like, oh, shit, I was going to go get some meth. And I was going to ask you. I was like, not anymore. Let me tell you my story. So I told the guy my story, man. He said it changed his life. I have this happens to me all the time. I'm on the ski bus. I'm on the UTA ski bus. And all of a sudden I'm having a meeting with 4 guys about alcohol, and maybe my thing's not things that alcohol, but I relate exactly the same.
Yeah, bro. God's using you, bro. So you got a testimony of God.
Oh, yeah.
Because when I first met you, bro, you were mad at God.
Oh, I want to strangle him. That was my plan. I had I felt like he took my wife. I felt like he took the most beautiful person I ever had, and it was on this planet, and I couldn't figure out why. And I thought it was a personal vendetta against me. And so I had this thought. I remember I thought, I'm just going to be good enough to get into heaven, go to shake his hand, and just take his neck. Like, that was in my mind. I was that delusional.
Wow, bro.
So that doesn't get me nowhere quick. Yeah, but I was mad. Dude, when my wife died, I was. There's no words that can describe the kind of pain, the emptiness, the feeling that I was dying every day.
And that's when your drug use got bad.
I didn't use drugs when my wife died.
Before.
I used about 2 weeks after she died. I drank some alcohol, and it didn't do shit for me. And I remembered my child. I have a history with meth. When I was 18, 20 years old, I got into meth, caught some felonies, went to prison, got out, straightened my life out. Got to college, hadn't pushed it aside. And just probably the straight fear of what it did. But I knew I knew how far I went in the small amount of time I was on it. I knew I'm a go-getter.
Yeah.
And so I was like, that's my answer. Like, and it's weird because in Kauai, in the pool with my wife on our honeymoon, we're talking about what are you going to do when you die, or what if I die? Are you going to take care of my son? Well, and I said, if you die, I'll be a junkie in my truck. Like, I'm a successful guy. I'm on a boardroom on corporate airplanes making deals, and I'm saying I'm going to be a junkie in my truck because, like, in back of my mind, I had never really dealt with my addiction, I don't think.
Yeah.
And, like, it was all there still. And, like, I knew if something really went bad, I didn't have the spirituality to take it.
Wow.
I knew that then, but subconsciously, it was coming out of my mouth, but I wasn't, I'm watching this video. We videoed this. It's really crazy to watch yourself say, if you die, I'm going to be a junkie in your truck. And then that's what, I had to fulfill my promise to her, like, kind of. But I don't know. Maybe I keep thinking that there's no way I would be as high and close to God today if I wouldn't have been as low as I was. And,
yeah, bro.
And so it's all for the reverberation of the waves that I can put out now. I got hit with some bad waves. I can just send out I can use those. If I hold on to those bad waves, I'll just keep putting them out. You know? And I can use those to change that frequency of that wave and send it back out today. And I get to heal. I get to heal people from my pain.
Wow, bro. And your wife's like your guardian angel. Like, imagine how proud she is of you.
She's right here. She's right here on my shoulder, bro. She's got me through so much. So many times I just have to say, Erica, come to me. She's there, man. It's very strange. She had butterflies tattooed. She's in butterflies, but I always feel it on my neck. I feel the butterfly on my neck.
Really?
I feel it now.
Wow, bro. God, that's impressive, Rick. Like, I'm so happy for you, bro. Like, for you to get a year, like when I first met you, I'll never forget it when you rolled into here and you're
Day one? Yeah, I remember you were here. I think I challenged you on something day one.
Yeah.
It was like, I remember you were like, it just takes diligence.
Yeah.
Just go mountain biking. Just be diligent. And I was like, dude, I do so much drugs mountain biking that does not get me clean. I think I said, I was out of there.
Yeah, bro. Everything you had an answer for. You were argumentative, and now you've, like, God's completely softened you up. And the thing that's cool about you, bro, is like there's a God.
There's no doubt, yeah.
You got a testimony. A lot of people don't go that far to where they get, what a blessing it's been for you to go so dark, and you've had nothing. I mean, you've been that gift of desperation. Like, when I picture you, hopping from church to church, like, people don't get that experience. That's a gift. You know what I mean? And I did
4 communions last Sunday.
I know, I saw that. Talk about your Zelda heart.
It's a power bar. It's shield. It's like how I get my spirituality. Like, I know that if I go connect to these people that I've been hooked to so much, that I get a charge. I get a boost. I didn't play a lot of games, but I played Zelda growing up, and I know if you stab the bushes every once in a while.
Go over there. There you go. Yeah. And
you're playing Zelda, you stab the bushes and the rocks sometimes, and you find a Zelda heart, right? So, like, I do weird stuff, and then I find something that spiritually just lifts me up. I mean, when I feel like when something bad happens, it's kind of like, boom, it's like I get shot in a video game and I lose some health. Yeah. And so if I don't have a full bar, like, I'm feeling it. And if I get hit with something and it depletes me, I'm going to use. So I'm always looking for spiritual. I'm doing my daily thing, but I'm like, whoa, is that a spiritual moment? Like, wait, is that a spiritual moment behind that rock, like in the lake?
Yeah.
That seems spiritual over there. Let me go check it out.
Yeah.
Who's that? Like, I'm just searching for Zelda hearts.
Yeah.
I'm like, where they at? Like, up that tree? Up that canyon? Yeah. Like, I went to the North Hog Divide. Oh my gosh. The wildlife that I saw up there. So spiritual, man. Just
Really?
nobody up there. So quiet. That. Yeah. Uh,
What prompts you? So you're searching after spiritual experiences, like you and because so you remove the substances, you get free from meth, you get pulled on constantly. You're scared of those cravings because they hurt, and your life depends on being spiritual, right?
Absolutely.
So you get high through the Spirit.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, higher than I ever got, and yeah, it lasts forever.
Yeah, it doesn't. What do you think about this? Like, so I've always been interested in trying to help people with cravings. Like, cause the cravings, they take me, right? And they can ruin your day. They can, like, so you have the bright side. It's like the reward comes in, I call it like the bright side reward. So you see what, like, I see what kratom could do. Like, it comes in, it says, oh, you're going to go home, and if you drink this, you're going to go home and be kind to your kids, and it'll be a fun Saturday afternoon. We'll watch TV. It'll warm you up. You'll be proactive and right. This is the reward that it shows me. And that's that. So then if you keep feeding that reward, then you run the risk of getting to where you're powerless. Like, nothing's going to stop me from going picking up kratom. I'm going to go do it, or opiates or whatever. Right. But what I've been working on lately is I see that bright side reward, but I immediately go to I go to the dark side of it. Seeing my daughter cry, I even smell it. I bring the nasty smell of it in. The times when I just see so I look for the dark side part of it, and then it if I can stay there longer, then this side dissolves, and I see the truth about it.
It's a battle.
And then going into the man in the back, which is stepping, like you talked about, stepping back and seeing it. Okay, there it is. I'm not that. That's just a thought that's trying to, if I attach to it and let it get, I step back, anchor myself to breath and see it, and then I take notice of the dark and the consequences, and then I remain the spiritual man in the back and go and try to get spiritual somehow through service or picking up the phone, having a cool conversation with you, creating art in the mountains. I'm going to go up into the mountains. And that's what I've always loved about you, because you've lived the SOAR spiritual work. So in SOAR, you got the steps, you got the gym side, but like the SOAR spiritual work is that seeking after scenery, like having the courage to be like, you know what, I'm depressed. I'm gonna go climb up the mountains and have an out loud prayer with God and read a book and seek after scenery, like you're always skiing and hiking into the back. Like, that's the spiritual work that I think a lot of people miss, that movement and scenery. You know what I'm saying?
I do. I have some testament to that.
And that's what I've always loved, bro. I mean, you're making these posts on the crew, and you're showing people how to go out and have the courage to chase after scenic experiences with animals and cool conversations and movement to get there. The movement to get there is important.
It's
because
key.
The movement
exponentially.
The movement lifts your thoughts. They don't, it's you don't have to be an expert to know that movement makes you feel better.
Oh yeah, your brain's grooving if your body's moving. It's a fact. Yeah. All kinds of chemicals, you're getting cleaned out of all kinds of proteins that are stuck in your cerebral fluid. It's the best thing for you. There's no better healthy thing for your mind or your body than working out. And I was against working out until I got here. I was a framer who worked out at work, and I thought he was a silly fool if you were looking in the mirror lifting weights. That's what I believed when I got here. And then after my first squats, I lit up. Like, my epigenetics turned on. I have cystic fibrosis, mutation. It helps, kind of messes with my breathing. Immediately got better. The more I worked out, the easier it was for me to breathe. The less mucus built up.
Yeah.
it actually turned on my genetic. It turned on, the meth, all the stuff. It turned on these bad genetics. It's epigenetics. Your thoughts, your things. It turns on the bad parts of your genes, your DNA. So that's what I'm doing spiritually, is I'm turning on my DNA. When I'm out there looking for something amazing, I'm turning on my DNA. I'm turning on health. I do it when I'm, like you said, when I'm having a craving and I go outside and stuff. So I guess I'll just talk about what I've been doing lately.
Yeah.
I want to talk about a couple things.
Just roll.
Well, my good buddy, New Mountain Drew, came in, and man, he reminded me of, we went hiking recently, skinning with our skis, and we got up to the top of Alta. But the whole time I'm thinking about my recovery and stuff. I don't have a radio on that day, and I'm thinking how hard it is. And I'm thinking, this is icy right here, and this reminded me of my first 3 months when I got to what I thought was graduation of SOAR, and I was going to get me a diploma or something. And it was icy, and I was on a hill, and I slid, and I was able not to fall down the mountain, but I was in the same scenario up this. And then when I got to the peak, I was like, oh, that's not the peak. There's another ridge, a higher ridge. And I thought that all I could do was get to that ridge at that point. But when I saw the other ridge and I felt something, those chemicals turned on, and also being with a group. I've never really experienced, as the only child and not been in any sort of brotherhood, to have the kind of brother sisterhood that we have here.
Yeah.
Exponentially increase what you can do, your capabilities. So every ridgeline is like a part of myself that I can see, a new capability that I never knew I had my whole entire life. It's further I climb, the higher the mountain seems to be, which is such a neat thing for me, man. I'm like breaking ceilings that my family hasn't broken, that my dad, I'm doing stuff that is a redemption. I didn't think it was real.
Yeah, bro. It seems like God's using you. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Because you're able to get, so with your experiences, you're able to get to a lot of people. I watch you with SOAR and all these, and anyone, I feel like anyone dares to come up and talk to you and say anything because they know you won't judge them.
It's exactly the opposite of when I came in here, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. It's like the greatest thing ever, dude. People ran from me. They did. They ran from me in the street, bro. If they knew me, they ran from me, man. And if you saw me get at an intersection, you didn't look at me, bro. And if you saw me in a grocery store, you knew I was fucking out of my mind. So, and you didn't come to me, man. People ran from me. They really did. They wouldn't pick up their phone. They wouldn't answer the door. They freaking ran from me, man. And to come in here and have people say hi, dude. That's it for me. That's success. I just wanted to be valuable. I wanted some value. I just wanted to stop hurting people and find some value that I could give, man. And I would go to anything to do it. I had gone to extreme measures to kill God. I'd gone to extreme measures, and so I was willing to do those extreme measures for God.
Bro, you think that it's going to continue, so where you're at now and this man you're becoming, it's obviously going to, so when you get a craving, and they'll come.
They did.
And they will, even though you got a year, the experiences you're having with people, don't you think that, and you building that Zelda heart, don't you think that's going to protect you against those cravings? The thought that, look at what has happened to me, people want my help, and I can beat this craving and learn more and keep going so that I can keep being useful to people. Does that scare you?
It's really scary to me because on my New Year's Eve, for the day before, the day of, and the day after, and almost for a week, no matter how far you go in recovery and how good you think you might be doing, the ditch is always right there.
Yeah.
Because I pulled up into SOAR happy as heck and turned my truck off, and this thought comes into my mind. I did it. I'm a year clean. I don't need y'all no more.
Yeah.
I don't need this place no more. I could go do what I want.
Yeah.
I said, who's that? I never had that thought before. Where'd that come from? And then it kind of kept creeping in. Like I walk in SOAR and I pick up a bar and I'm like, oh, I need to do. And somebody comes up to me. Chris comes up to me. He says, "What's going on, man? What's going on today?" And I said, "Dude, I don't think I need to come here anymore." Just tell him.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Bro, even if you never use again, think of the person you're gonna be and the value that you are. You have no idea the waves that you can cause if you stay here. Like maybe you won't ever have to use again, but are you going to be the man that you could be if you stay?" And I was just like, duh. Like I know that already. I would have told you that if you would have stayed. But I can't. The enemy is in you, man.
Yeah,
it's the inner you, dude. It's fighting you.
So you believe in the devil?
I believe in. Yeah, I believe in the devil.
The adversary.
Yes, absolutely, for sure. I have many names.
Yeah.
I know him very well. I was boning him on the gates of hell when I found the stairway to heaven. It's a she.
Yeah.
That's the truth. The horns came out and everything.
Yeah, bro. Like, and that's another thing when people come into addiction and they're having a hard time, or they have a hard time with the higher power concept. I always say, dude, have you seen the devil? And almost everybody has. I was like, well, there has to be something higher than the devil, Yeah,
I mean, when I came in here, every single power I know was higher than me. I was so low that, gravity was constantly crushing me every day. I was dropping stuff on my toes. I couldn't, everything was out to get me. Every power was greater than me, I really felt like. So I didn't have any, and when I came in here, I was able to see these people who had so much power. They had unbelievable amount of power. They were gods to me. They were all gods to me. Everybody in here was a god to me. They were like a star that I chiseled them in my mind like they were my Mount Rushmore of recovery.
Yeah.
I chiseled their face. I went home and wrote their names down and carved them into wood. Like I made these fools gods, and then I followed them like the wise men followed the stars.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, so the group was your higher power in the beginning.
Absolutely. And then Christy came along, and she said, "Love's my higher power."
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, shit. That's what saved me, really." Like I had one neuron left. Like I remember feeling the heartbeat of my wife when I was at my unspeakable lowest points. I still could feel the heartbeat of the love of my wife inside. I know this sounds crazy. Like you don't have any feelings in your brain and your neurons. So I could feel the cells in my body and the energy from where it came from, the nucleus of that energy spinning and coming out.
Yeah, that's real, bro.
I went to extreme measures. I did everything, when I was wanting to use, I look up the LD50 on all the drugs, and, the lethal dose 50, and then I do it and like play with whether I'm going to OD or not. And I just really wanted to die. But when I came across Ibogaine out there.
When was this?
2020, 1 year into my addiction. Yeah, I did.
Where'd you go? Did you go
a cave? I lived in a cave at the time.
Did you give? Did someone give it to you?
Yeah, I bought it. Bought it off the street. Didn't know if it was real or not. Bought it from same guy I got meth from. He said, "This is Ibogaine. It saved so many people." I got it from my friend who came back from Brazil. And I said, "This is really Ibogaine." I've heard, so yeah.
So you went to a cave?
I lived in a cave at that time.
Wow. So what did it do? Tell me about that experience.
All space and time exploded, man. It's kind of hard to talk about, but I'll tell you, I got awareness of every single impact that I did while I was using. I could feel the other people's hearts that I impacted. I didn't even see. All these memories would rush through me of things that I had forgotten about. Violence that I had carried out and just spaced it. I didn't even know that was nothing, man. I did some really bad things, man. Like I got really violent You know, I hurt
Yeah.
I put hands on every one of my friends.
Yeah.
I cut people up. I did some really bad things, man. Like I shouldn't be. I was committing felonies every day. Like it was ugly, ugly stuff.
And so that helped. That created a new awareness inside you. Was it a spiritual experience?
Yeah. So I saw myself dead in the rocks, laying on the rocks outside the cave, and there was a crucifix stuck in me. Like I got killed by God. Like he was like, "You didn't get me, bro." But I wasn't dead. I was still moving around. Like I could see myself, but I was moving around. So I went over to the rocks where my body was, and I pulled this crucifix out of my body. Like, what? You know, and when I did, it was a sword. I remember lifting the sword up, and like discernment came into my life where I knew exactly which powers were going to help me and were good and which powers were bad. And then I remember thinking, kill him with love. And I put some of my wife's love on the end of the blade. This is an Ibogaine experience, but yeah. And I said, I'm going to fight for love. I'm now your warrior, God. I'm the warrior of my creator. And I'll kill the demons with love.
Yeah.
And I remember it was like the sky split, man, and a light came down. And all the bad went one way and all the good went this way. And I could slash, and the bad would stay on one side and the good would stay on the other side. And I felt like I have the power to do that now in life. I didn't. When I came down from Ibogaine, I still couldn't get off meth. I would go 14 days. Like that was my number. And then I was really, I think my body, you know, I was doing so much that I had no other pathways in my brain. It just controlled. That was the only thing that worked.
Yeah.
So I would go 2 weeks and I would be so bad off, unhealthy, dying. Almost literally dying. My kidneys, everything shutting down. And then I would do meth and I'd fucking come back to life for a day. You know?
Yeah.
So that experience, I know for sure there's good and evil, and I know for sure that I'm here to discern it. Yeah. I'm here to fight through it. I'm here to use my crucifix as a sword.
Yeah, here to help people through it. Yeah, that's a lot of people are doing that. That was an option for me this summer. They wanted me to, I was looking at going to a rehab in Mexico or Ibogaine. No, it was ayahuasca. Mm. Yeah, it was an ayahuasca place in Tijuana. And like I was close to going. I mean, it's cheap. It was only like $6,000. Like it wasn't this crazy expensive thing. And I'm very interested in that.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of documentaries on it. You know, Aubrey Marcus.
I watched Aubrey.
He's done it, and there's definitely spiritual drugs out there that can help you connect and help push out evil demons if done correctly in the right atmosphere.
And just help you recognize your thinking errors.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean isn't that so much what addiction is like you've attached to so many thoughts that you think that you think they make up who you are. They create a bunch of fear, and then you don't like how you feel. And then you use a substance, and a substance almost gives you a spiritual experience. Let's go home and hang out with the kids. Let's go, you know what I'm saying? And like, so then it's almost like you're searching after a spiritual experience through a substance.
Absolutely.
And to help you feel better.
I mean,
that's
you can't find that spiritual experience, right? You're living life and you can't find it on its own terms, right? Yeah. You don't know how to search out like I've learned to do.
Yeah.
Like I've learned, if I don't do that every day, then I'm gonna be in that debt, that scenario.
And just turning it over to God. Like I learn a lot from you, bro, because I have, man. Like I really have, you know, and I appreciate you. You know, I did a lot of. there was a lot of wreckage this summer for me with this whole thing. And people stopped answering the phone for me. I mean, I got, I started bugging people and had a lot of thinking errors going. And you always kept at me. You know what I'm saying? And I think God brought you into my life.
Ditto.
Yeah, I think God brought you into my life, bro. And but I think I'm the same way, and I'm interested in turning it all over to God. I'm so tired of suffering. I suffer when I try to control the external. And from what I'm hearing from you is you don't try to control the external anymore. You just say, you know what, God, this is where I'm at. God's got it.
I learned that from here, the Buffalo, man. The whole Buffalo, I lean into it.
Yeah.
Like if it's discomfort, I lean into it until it's comfort.
Yeah.
Oh, it's if something scares me, that means I need to go there.
Yeah.
If I'm out there and I suck at push-ups, that means I need to do more push-ups because I can't do push-ups or pull-ups in my head. But that just means I need to do more. And I learned when I do more, that's the answer. That's God telling you.
Yeah.
Strengthen up right there.
Yeah. Mine's like, I think my fears are like that I'm not going to be successful. Like I'm not going to, and I know that's like not real. Like, and like, it's like me with this new job as a administrator or vice principal. Like I want to be the best. I want to be the best, the best administrator, and I flipped the script just lately. This is and it's been better, is like, I don't need to be the best vice principal. I know that I can go hard for kids, and I know that I'm good at that. I know that I can show up to work on a daily basis and do my best to help kids and teachers. I don't know if I'm like some of the administrator stuff and some of the stuff that I'm maybe like organized with my desk work is like, I can't tell if I'm real good at that. Like I use the AI and I got some tools, but I know I can be good at just showing up every day. And since, and that's more the let go, let God. Like I know if I help God's children, like I'm going to be put in the place that I need to be put. You know what I mean?
I liken it to time. Like the best way to get the most out of time is to not think about it.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to do the best job at basketball, I mean, not every scenario, but it's going to come to you. You're going to do a lot better if you're not focused on being the best.
Yeah. The ego side of things where I want to be better. It's like everybody's egos brush up against everybody else's egos.
Absolutely.
And then someone else's ego kind of hits me and I say, and then I'm tired of that, bro. I want to be the man in the back. I want to be the guy who can step back and be like the ego thought comes, I can see it, like the thought to argue or the thought to, I don't want to do it anymore because it does nothing but create suffering and pins you against other people.
Yeah. My weapon for that is to look for every reason to make them right when it starts to go wrong like that. I look them in the eyes and I think there's every reason that you're going to convince me you're right. And it just switches my ego goes out the door.
Say that again.
So, I mean, it happened recently. I mean, with somebody I love, a little ego thing happened. And, for me to look at them, and my job is now, instead of me being convincing of the ego thing is that I'm right or what, my job is to help you convince me you're right.
Yeah. Okay. But you got to do that in not an egotistical way.
Oh yeah, no, in your head.
Yeah, you got to be kind.
Bring that out. Yeah,
you got to be kind and really.
It's a mindset.
Yeah, really help them to.
It's a mindset.
Yeah.
Now I can all of a sudden gain from this ego instead of lose from this bad. It's actually an opportunity to gain.
Yeah.
Every time you brush up against somebody, it's an you have an opportunity there to give love onto that, and instead of hitting it head on head, you're deflecting it, and you're giving it an angular momentum, and it comes back around.
Yeah.
I promise you, it comes back around. If you let it go, if you deflect it with love, it will come back around.
Yeah, and then when you leave a conversation, you have to not let your ego come back up and sit there and practice what you should have said or what you want to say again, or you know what I'm saying?
Oh boy, that's
because that's the thing. Like I might do a good job in a conversation, and then but they said something that maybe brushed up against me, and I did pretty good while I handled it right there. But then the trick is not to keep carrying it with you for the next 6 hours and let it build into an assumption that's not even real.
Yeah, it's a huge
you see what I'm saying?
And I think I try to extinguish that with that mindset change right when it happens. Then I don't have to look. Then I don't have to think about it for 4 hours and be like, did he mean?
Yeah.
Did he mean that? But because I've already deflected it with love and turned it around with angular momentum.
Wow, bro.
And it doesn't work every time. Sometimes I have an ego too, and you know, it's hard for me to articulate sometimes where I'm coming from. It sounds like I'm being argumentative when actually I agree with the person. I'm just bringing in other thoughts to think. Like I'm a limbic exercise person. I like to think about things in different ways.
And people take it maybe wrong.
That I have a certain.
Well, you're a unique soul. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that in a bad way. But yeah, me too. I don't know how well I fit in a lot of areas.
Yeah.
You know, like I mean, I do, but I mean, you're a unique guy, so you know,
I'm grateful for that today.
You stand out a little bit, and when you're tall and you carry, you know, and people maybe you say stuff, then people and they just don't get it because you just got that. You've had some unique experience. You lived in a cave.
Yeah, that's the least of it. But yeah, I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I did 14 months in maximum security prison. You know, I didn't see an hour every 3 days.
Wow.
When I was 17 years old. So.
You were young.
Well, I got caught a bunch of felonies when I was young, and I ended up going to prison.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was for violence, and I had an escape charge, so they didn't let me out of lockup. It was pretty wild.
So
I mean, when I got
trauma with that.
Oh
bro?
yeah, dude, that's trauma got me in that. My whole childhood, you know, since I've been in recovery and I've been doing these steps, which has led me to so much more than any kind of recovery I've done otherwise, because it gives you the opportunity to say what you've done, and say I'm sorry for the things I've done, to acknowledge the things I did when I was a kid and young, and then when you get later on the steps, you get to see their part in it, and then you get to bury it.
Yeah,
like you get to put your part out here and their part out here, and you get to bury it. And a lot of the steps in a lot of therapies, and you never get that opportunity. You know, you're kind of rehashing, but this is actually a time when you get to bury it. You get to make a paper airplane and throw it off the Grand Canyon, and it gets to leave you forever.
Those times when we're in prison were hard, though.
I found God in prison. That's where I first found God. Just like I found addiction when I was young, you know, before that, and I knew it was dangerous. I found God in prison, and when I got out,
Did you become a reader in prison?
Yeah, I read a bunch. That's what I did. Read the Bible several times, the Book of Mormon several times, but didn't have any spiritual experiences other than it got me out of my hell when I was in prison. But I never got to use it in real life. Like I used it in prison. Like I did use it. I used it all the time. I shouldn't say that. I used it all the time. I would sing Amazing Grace, and I hypnotized myself to take me away from any nonsense that was going on. I had a movement, like we talk about movement. I do a movement. I still do it today. I do a movement, and I'll slap myself in the back, on the neck 3 times, or my knee, or depending on whatever, to get me back into that state.
Yeah.
So when I get into that state, I do these things. I make the sounds or this mantra when I'm in that good state, when I'm here in a good state, and then when I'm somewhere else and something bad happens, I do the same thing. It puts me back in that state.
Yeah.
I learned that from prison.
Wow.
And I didn't know why I knew that, and never could figure out in my life, why did I go through those experiences, man? You know, why? Now I know why.
To lead you here and to be helpful. I mean, you hear everybody in here just stoked that you were coming on here. You know what I mean? Like, recovery gives you purpose. when you get into recovery, you're like, now I know why I had to go to prison.
All the dots are connected, man.
Yeah, now I know why I had to go to prison. Now I know why, as hard as it was for you, and why your wife had to become your guardian angel. I know that's a hard one, but
it's a hard one to swallow. That's it, dude. Like, to say that was meant to be.
Yeah.
I could say it today.
Yeah.
I could say it today.
Yeah. Man, that's beautiful, bro. Thankful for you, man. I really am. I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for what you bring to SOAR. You're always keeping that WhatsApp going. Your cool little posts every day and what you bring to people.
You guys are my only friends, and I don't do social media, so you guys are like I'm using you to get to turn into a human. I'm like, you guys are my feedback. Like, where do I go? Right, left? Is this cool? Is that not cool? What if I post this? Is this non-couth? Is this kosher? I can get feedback that way before I get out in the real world.
I love you, bro. You got anything else you want to say?
Oh man, I'm just so blessed. Like, there's nothing in my wildest dreams would put me on a platform today to talk about where I've been for the positive for anybody else. Just search it out, man. It's a war, it's a battle. But if you want the better life than you ever thought you could have, better friendships, deeper realities, get into the 12-step, man. Find recovery, find spirituality.
Yeah.
It comes in so many different ways. Make an ingredients list for yourself. Like, how are you going to cook up a new you? Put some new ingredients in there, all right? And then for me too, I also have to cook me up some humble pie every day. I have to throw some ingredients in a humble pie. Am I going to do burpees? Am I going to go to jiu-jitsu? Am I going to go to boxing? I need some humble pie every day.
Yeah.
Go to that fridge and eat it.
Yeah, good for you, bro. That's so sick. And then we'll do this again. So, this isn't a one-time thing. You know what I mean? That's the way I want to run this podcast.
I'd love to grow from this.
Yeah, continue to have conversations about it and continue to watch you evolve as the man into the man in the back, and me evolve and Reichley evolve. You know what I'm saying? That's because I want to tell everybody too who's listening that the man in the back is the journey. It's when you step back and you're able to observe the ego voice, and you're observing it and you realize you're not it. You're that person who is aware of your awareness. You're the person who's sitting in the back and you can see it all, and you don't have to be those thoughts. You can be the person that's just back there seeing out the eyes without thought.
Exactly.
And then now when you're that person, bro, you hear the still small voice of God, like, oh, let's go here.
And all my angels.
Send out a healthy text message. Your wife, you can't hear our ancestors or positive spiritual experiences if you're blocked up with madness and resentment and if you're cravings, if you're attaching to cravings, and then you just can't. You're blocked off from feeling. I like to say you're blocked off from stepping into the high adventure life. A lot of people think partying and drug use, I'm living. Now, the high adventure life is when you learn to compete with those things, and you don't need to do them anymore. And you're fighting against the devil. You're using God to help you fight against. That's when you step into the high adventure. You're stepping into the game with Christ.
That's right.
That's the way I look at it, because Christ is my higher power. Now I'm playing on his team.
Exactly, man.
I
used to party on boats and drink liquor and think that was the coolest thing, and now I'm out there having church on boats. It's the greatest thing. It's so much higher. Anything you were trying to do sober and you got lubricated with a little liquor and you thought it was better, it can be better without it. You just have to figure out how to do it. It's a weakness of you that can't figure out how to do it better. You got an incongruency with yourself that makes you think you're better on alcohol.
Yeah.
You're better without it. You just got to find it. You got to find that authenticity that you have. Everybody has it.
That motivates me, bro, because like with fishing and skiing and some of the things that I have a hard time that I ruined with taking pills or smoking weed or thinking that, and now I go back into those things, and it's it's been hard, but it's getting better to where like if I just get present and just stay right there in that moment and just, the fly fishing, I'm just there with God, and I can set it down and I can sit in the trees and do some reading, and my kids out in the river, and I don't need to be like just catching fish the whole time and just this hurt, because when I would take Adderall and smoke weed. And so it was like, there'd be days in the past, and I grew up fly fishing with my father, and I tainted it with doing Adderall, and I do Adderall, and there'd be days when I wouldn't sit down or drink water the entire day, just fishing hard. And like, how spiritual is that? And now when I go fishing, it's like, it's okay. I can sit down and watch and enjoy the birds and take some pictures of my kid, and then get back up and fish for a little bit. And you know what I'm saying? And that's been it's like, everything doesn't have to be this crazy, big thing. I can just slow down and sit with God. Same thing with skiing, right? Like, I struggle like with skiing and enjoying skiing too, because it was like I'd just smoke on the gondola on the way up before, and then same thing, taking Adderall, and then going into the bar afterwards and drinking, and then popping some Lord tabs and warming me up and having some. That was like the event of skiing, and now I go up there now and I'm like, I gotta wait in this line. But who cares if you're waiting in the line? Just sit there and enjoy the line. Look where I'm at. That's the mindset I'm chasing after when it comes to my hobbies.
Yeah, being the man in the black in the hobbies, I do that a lot. I'm either really in it, like if I go skiing, I'll think about. Well, actually, I'm not going to go there right now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Don't even worry about it.
I'm sorry.
But no, it's good, bro. We can wrap this up. But I just wanted to say that at the end, because you do that well, bro. You get out and you appreciate life, with your spiritual experiences. And I want to get there. I want to get back to where I can go back out and enjoy my hobbies without feeling like I need to take a substance. And that's part of my journey, is becoming the man in the back. Like, I'm tired of that. Like, I dread going skiing right now. I don't know why. That bugs me.
When I'm in the powder panic and stuff, I actually stopped skiing because of the powder panic. Like, when I got to recovery, like, I wasn't going to get involved in that. And then that's kind of what I was saying, the man in the back. When I was hiking, I've been doing this hiking thing.
Yeah.
And I'm out there, and I'm just aware. I'm just so aware of the sounds and nature that's around me, more than I ever was before. Because I'm in my head. I'm like, am I going to get to the top? Well, oh yeah, I got to get my library book back on Wednesday. No, man. Like, if I can go up there and just listen, dude.
Yeah.
I can hear my future, where I need to go.
Yeah.
Hey, man, two and a half years ago, I couldn't formulate a sentence. So you've given me so much. You've given me so much opportunity. I can't imagine the growth that's actually happened. I can feel the growth in my mind right now. Just being able to talk right now and get these things out.
Yeah, bro.
Formulate a sentence and hopefully make some coherent sense.
No, it makes beautiful, bro. You helped me. I love you, and we'll do this again. Love you, bro.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, good stuff.
Awesome.